Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to talk quickly about Chapter 14. I'm going to cover some of the areas that you guys will need to pay attention to and stuff like that. The first part of the chapter talks about attachments and stuff like that. You guys can read that on your own. It's pretty self-explanatory. You should be able to read it. The next part talks about attraction, love, and close relationships. Things like that. Remember, one thing you got to remember with this, every relationship comes to an end. I don't care how strong it is. I don't care who the people are involved. Every relationship comes to the end. Maybe you get lucky and they die or something. I don't know. But it always comes to an end. So either whether you both agree that it's over or one of you dies and it's over, it comes to an end, okay? Come on. The first thing when it comes to attraction is the first impressions. When you meet somebody, some people do come across positively. Some of you may have a negative feeling against somebody or stuff like that, but always institute your first impression. We tend to like people who are similar to us, who have the same attitudes and things like that. People keep texting me on Facebook. That's what those beeping sounds are. I don't know if you guys hear them or not. But anyway, we're familiar with them. We're similar to them. There is no such thing as opposites attract. That is a whole Hollywood bullcrap that they're trying to feed you. No two complete opposites will ever fall in love. Okay, the fact that they love each other is something they have in common. So everything you guys do will have some sort of you will have some sort of common thing. Similar attitudes, values, lifestyles, and things like that. That is what this consensual validation is about, okay? So please make sure you read through that. Physical attractiveness, yes, we do want somebody who is considered good looking, somebody who is pretty. But for the most part, this is what is known as the matching hypothesis. In theory, we do want somebody who's beautiful, but we tend to end up marrying or in a relationship with somebody who has the same level of attractiveness as us, as similar to you, okay? You all have heard of that theory, if you're a 5, you should not try to date a 10 because they're out of your league. You should stay within your own number group, okay? Don't date up, stay at the same level. Faces of love, of course, there's always going to be intimacy. Now, intimacy does not always involve sex. Remember, this is a physical closeness and stuff like that, okay? You want to be intimate. You want to have a balance between that and independence. Independence, sorry. So you want to be in a relationship with somebody, but sometimes you like to be alone. You don't want to always have to be at their beck and call and always be around them. Friendship is a little bit different, so remember that. Okay? Friendships, you may have a strong love for them, you still may have intimacy. Some places you can still have sex, but that's a whole different story. Okay? There's different kinds of loves out there. First one is affectionate love. Okay? Desires to have the other person near based on dear and caring affections. This is different. Okay? Because this is like friendship love, companion love. You want them around just because of who they are. They make you laugh. You have romantic love. This is the kind of one where you have, sexuality. You want to have sex with them, things like that. Um, Under this, there's one that's called Eros love. That's the romantic maniac love. This is where they do crazy things like, if you ever leave me, I'll kill you, kind of thing. Okay? So you want to be careful with that. They're kind of crazy out there. Watch out. The good example of this was what was her name? Big Lips. Angelina. I don't know what her is. It Jay, Angelina, Jolie, and Billy Bob. Let me see necklaces. Here we go. Maybe you guys can all see this. They used to wear necklaces around each other's right here. Okay, they would have a necklace. In that necklace, they had each other's blood in it. So that's kind of the mania, crazy love. Okay, and then consummate love is the strongest form of love. All right, this is where you accept the person, you know them, you accept them, you love them. Everything about them is okay with you. You just accept who they are, all their craziness and stuff like that. Okay? There's other kinds of loves that I'm sure some of you have heard, the filial love, the love for fellow mankind, um, unconditional love. This is the parents for a child, no matter what. Yes, they've killed 20 people, but they're still my baby. I love them. So there's all these kinds of loves that you have out there, all right? Next, you have Robert J. Steinberg's triangle theory of love. The three dimensions are passion, intimacy, and commitment. So you can see through there, there's a little table in your book that shows you and explains each one of these. So make sure you pay attention to that. Um, when it comes to love, though, remember you do have some cultural variations. Okay, people do go and marry outside of their race and stuff like that. So, culture will impact every relationship. Here it gives some sort of examples. France and Brazil is the most passionate. I'm sure you're not, you know, surprised by that. They have a lot of extramarital affairs. Remember when we talk about introverts, extroverts, perverts? There you go. Here's the little chart. You can see there's infatuation, affectionate love, fortuitous love, consummate love. That gives you some sort of things like that, explanations. Adult lifestyles, you can see the different types of lifestyles that are now taken over in United States. Before we had what was called the traditional family, where it's mom, dad, the kids, and blah blah blah. There are so many different things now. Single adulthoods, single family homes. For example, like myself, I am single. This is a growing way. A lot of people do not want to be married, and I don't blame them. Cohabiting adults, these are just people who shack up, live together, but they're never married. There are some states in our countries that will have what's called a common law marriage. If you've been together with a person over so many years, it's accepted as a marriage, except you don't have the marriage license, but you get all the privileges, things like that. Then, of course, there are the married adults. Divorce adults, divorce rate is huge in the United States, which makes me laugh because they always talk about, gay and lesbian adults shouldn't be allowed to be married because it destroys the sanctity of marriage, and yet people get divorced all the time. It is a lot easier to get divorced in today's society because of that. I believe it's called unreconcilable or something like that. Differences where both parties just agree to split. You can get divorced in pretty much 24 hours nowadays. And then remarried adults, blended families, so people who were married have families, then they get divorced and then they marry somebody else and start new families. So this is the blended, mixed families that go. And then, of course, the gay and lesbian adults. Millennials now, you can see, tend to find dates online. There is nothing wrong at all with finding a date online. When I was growing up in the 90s, if you found somebody online, people made fun of you. You were ridiculed. Now there's no such thing. There are so many websites geared to finding, what is it, Match.com, FarmersOnly.com, Christian Mingles, things like that. So, in the old day, if you were single, there was a lot of stereotypes mixed with it, but that's no longer the case. Unfortunately, when it comes to gender, it was a lot more harsh on women. If you were single, you were considered sad and lonely and old maid. If you were single and a male, you were considered a bachelor, things like that. But remember, there are always cultures that have way worse views on this. Leftover women is what is called in China. This is what they're referred to. In America, you're considered an old maid, but in China, you are considered what is called a leftover woman. This is a woman who is unmarried but yet professional. Basically, it's referred to as if she picked a career over a family. This starts usually at 27. So at 27, if you're not married, then you're a leftover woman. You're seen as very sad and pathetic and things like that. So remember, some cultures do have it worse than others. Here's some things you guys can read about the advantages on your own, things like that. Read, 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 read. Marriage, make it work. Be happy. Communication is usually one of the best things that helps with every marriage, okay? When it comes to gender and communication, women prefer the rapport talk and men prefer the report talk. Again, this just deals with the way men communicate. We believe in facts. Tell me the facts. So that's a report. What happened? With women, they want to rapport. They want to connect. They want to understand. They talk more about emotions. Emotions are a very big deal to them. To men, it's no big deal. We don't care about how you feel. We just want to know what happened. Okay? Men's development and things like that. Remember, masculinity is always a big thing. We, the big strong man, we got to take care about women. Dumb stuff like that. Okay? Women, it tends to be different. So remember that. Other things that you need to remember, it is changing the world society. Women are now cyborgs and have no emotions. Men will be more emotional and cry at rainbows. So just remember some of this information that you read in this textbook has changed. Androgyny, positive masculine and feminine characteristics present in the same person. Transgender, though, you guys should know about this by now. And that's all I have to say. The last part over this, though, it talks about a small percentage of married people. They talk about certain statistics. So make sure you read through this if you would like to. It just gives you statistics of how it's changed until now. Okay? It's quite interesting. All right, if you guys have any questions, please let me know. Please make sure you read the books and get the missing information. All right, bye.